welcome everyone, Rufus Shinra here from the Shinra Corporation with a new video series called The Shinra Corporation Asks. So it's a series where I will be taking questions from members of my Discord, affectuously called the Shinra Corporation, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So today, the Shinra Corp asks, in the person of Ninjalino. Thank you, by the way, Ninjalino, for the question. So he says, does anyone have a guide of the average attack, HP, defense for champions at certain rarities? Sometimes content creators will say so and so champ has a good base attack, so it could be helpful to know at what level will a base stat be considered good or bad. Thank you very much, Ninjalino, for this question, and it's actually an interesting one. So most players who have been playing this game for a long time now, such as myself, have acquired, let's say, a feel for stats in the game. Let's take, for example, any faction, any champion. If you look at, I'll pick one at random here. If you look at Sorceress and look at her stats, HP 1200, she's an attack champion, 12,000, attack 1300, I would say that her attack is slightly above average, her speed is okay, and the HP is a little bit on the low side. But how can I determine that? It's just because I've seen tons upon tons of champions, and your brain starts to retain some information, and sometimes you might be biased and look at 100 as the absolute par. So today, in order to try and answer this question, what I did is I compiled a file where I simply took data that was mined from the game, and I took a look at the actual averages. So if you're interested in that, just stick around, and I will be showing the file in a couple of seconds, and to let you know once and for all what are the actual average stats. If you've been watching this far, thank you. Leave a subscription and a like, it goes a long way. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop into the actual file. Alright, so this is what I was talking about. So what is this to begin with? So this is just a good old Excel sheet that on which I put a pivot table based on extracted data from the game. So again, a little bit of a disclaimer. This is not the latest dump of data that we got from the game. This is a little bit before the Shadowskin faction was introduced, so it doesn't have the Shadowkin champions in it, but it does have about 554 champions, which is more than enough to construct a good sample size. So I took this data, crunched it in a pivot table here, and now I can filter by role, by rarity, and by factions, and get the average stats for each. So here, for instance, without filtering on anything, these are the average stats of the champions in the game today. Alright, so 16k seems to be the average, 1100 attack for the attack, 980 for defense, 98 for speed, 15 for crit rate, 54 for crit damage, resistance 34, and accuracy 3. Accuracy is a little bit of an odd one because there are plenty of champions with 0 accuracy, so that it lowers the bar for the whole accuracy of the game. But there are champions that can go up to 30, 50, and so on, 15 and so on. Even some with a lot more than that. So if we took again the example that we've picked earlier, which is Sorceress, if I remember correctly. Yes, so Sorceress, these are her stats. Let's see how she factors in on our file. So she's a rare champion. All we need to do, she's an attack champion of, she's rare. Let's see how she compares to other rare champions. So the health, usually for her attack rares, is 13,419. This is the health, and the attack is, the average is 1,293, close to 1,300. She's at 1,321, so slightly above average. The speed is definitely above average. The average speed for attack res is 97, defense 840, crit rate 15, crit damage 56, resistance 31, and so on. But let's not stop here. So what I'm actually curious to do, and I haven't done yet, is to see how the starters compare. So if we go to our factions, High Elves, Elhain, and see how she does on our averages sheet. So HP above average, attack about close to average, actually just 60 points short, defense a little bit below, maybe 3 points, so actually close to be average, speed way higher than average, 107 is really good, crit damage, crit rate, and resistance quite there. So this is Elhain, she scores pretty well. Let's see Mr. Kale, the Dark Elves counterpart. How does he do? Again, we have very good attack, above average, no, lower than average. I was looking at the HP, so the HP is above average, the attack is about 100 points below average, defense a little bit higher, speed good but not as good as Elhain, etc. So again, looking at the stats alone does not a champion make, so to say, meaning that of course it's not just the stats, it's the kit, it's the how the different attacks in the kit synergize, the role that he's filling, the multipliers, more importantly if we're talking about damage champions. So all of these informations factor in the choice, but again, the objective of the guide today is to look purely at the stats and learn how to tell the difference between average, above average, and on par. Let's not stop here. Let's go check our orc, Mr. Galek. Voila. So Galek, again, the attack is below average, the HP higher, good speed. They all seem to share this trait here. Some of them are pretty fast, others have okay speed. And the last one would be Aethel. Where is she? Is she even a Sacred Order? Yeah, she is. So Aethel, surprisingly, yeah, she's the one with the lowest attack out of the three, but she does have some decent speed to make up for it, etc. So these just give us an idea about how these stats are spread out throughout the game. So we can of course filter the legendaries, take a look at the HP. You can filter by any one of these, any combination of these three. For instance, I could check what are the averages for my HP, not rares, legendaries in general. The faction filter here is just for you to play around with and see if you want to, let's say, compare champions within a single faction. It could be useful, for instance, for faction wars or any other mode where you use single faction champions. So yeah, these are the stats for our legendaries, HP based legendaries, so to say. Alright, so yeah, this was just the showcase of this document. Again, you will find it in the first pinned comment on this video, available for you to download, play around with. You can modify the pivot table, of course, you can do whatever you want with it. I am by no means an Excel wizard. I just threw this together really quick. Please let me know if you found any mistakes in the file or anything that should be corrected. I would be glad to incorporate it into another version of the file and see if I can extrapolate better data or data that will be more interesting in the future. Thank you very much for watching this first episode of Shinra Corp Asks. I hope you liked it. If you have any other questions or anything you'd like me to answer, please leave it either in the description below or in my Discord. We have a dedicated channel for video ideas. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.